Hey there everybody, Wayne D. Francisco here. Welcome to the website. And this week we had the passing of Billy Casper, one of the great players of all time. 3 majors, 51 PGA Tour event wins. From 1964 to 70, Casper won 27 tournaments, which is more than double of Player and Palmer combined. More than Nicklaus, more than anybody. Here we have him side by side with Gabe Brewer, another excellent player back in the day, and one with a pretty original swing here. But I think you're going to like Casper's swing. This shot we have here is particularly cool because the camera's steady. The film wobbles a little bit, but the camera's not moving, and it was situated nicely behind both these guys. And we get a little side-by-side action here. You're gonna like this one. Casper's swing is just really good. He was a consistent right-to-left player and had one of the great short games of all time. Later on in the video I'll give you an example of him hitting a putt. It's pretty neat. Let's watch. I'm just going to run this through. It'll stop kind of in the middle. So, first of all, both players, look at this, just hugely deep in the right leg. In fact, their right legs look similar. Casper's is pretty exaggerated, but Brewer's is even more so. If you look at the space between his legs there, these are just things you don't really see as much these days. It's interesting if you watch Casper's takeaway with that back move, watch his right foot. He's actually going to step back, close his stance a little bit, get a nice head start there. So there's a very interesting trigger, and he's going to move that club back, and it looks like he's dragging it inside, but pretty much right up the plane when he's at left arm parallel here. You can see the club again is pretty much on plane, although it's a little bit on the flat side. But as we get to the top, it's going to go a little across, and now we're going to see the key move here with the hands working. Well, actually we're going to go to Brewer because that's the way they did this one. So let's watch Gabe Brewer here. There's his start. I'm going to redraw these lines. Oh, see, it's one video. I forgot. If I erase one side, I'm going to erase the other side. But this is interesting anyway, so we'll go back to Casper in a second. Let's watch Brewer. So here we've got a takeaway. If anybody was ever low, you've heard low and slow. This is just like really low. The lower you keep the club head in the takeaway, which is why it's one of the worst sayings of all time, low and slow. This is where it ends up, off the screen behind the player. But Brewer doesn't really care. So this is a la Kuchar. This is like a one plane backswing. As you can see, no elevation whatsoever, but look at the depth that he's getting here, and take a look at the head lowering. Now this club is so far deep and behind him, and he's not going to keep the right arm in front of him. He's just going to let that thing turn like crazy. This is about as across the line as you will ever see anybody. Larry Nelson was right in that game. Let's go back to the beginning and draw Casper's again so we can watch him come down. Again, nicely up the plane. Definitely a more conventional progression upward than Brewer, for sure. You can see Casper kept his right arm much more in front of him. Brewer let his go behind him. Casper's arm is more flared. If you look at his forearm up there, Brewer's is more vertical. Let's see who comes down first. So the guy that was commenting on the video discussed or used the term whirly bird action for Brewer's swing. Take a look at this. How awesome is that? And talk about recovery. So take a look at the left heel go down and the knee go right back. Now you wouldn't think with the legs spread out this much that there was any way that he's going to get his knees back to even when that left arm's parallel, but check that out. And the other thing to look at, if you thought Tiger Woods invented lowering, then you don't know anything about the history of golf. Now watch where Brewer's club ends up. How cool is that? Look at that approach. I mean, that is almost under the plane. Deep, head out, lower. That's pretty awesome. Now let's watch Casper. Now once again, take a look at where the hands go and where the shaft goes. I mean, this motion's been around forever because it's athletic. Now, let's watch Casper's knees. They're going to square up when his left arm's parallel to the ground, just like Brewer's did. Butt still back. You can see he's got a little extra depth there. His head is... Most of Casper's lowering was in the backswing, not the forward swing, but look how much lower he is overall. Not like Brewer, but still significant amount. Now Casper's going to come in a little higher, but look how nice and open that is. I mean, that's just awesome. Head, and again, no backup. The head's still out over the ball. Take a look at the footwork, both these guys. Look at Casper's right foot in that exit. I mean, that body's unwinding. It's awesome. Let's watch Brewer finish up. Same thing. Look at that footwork. Now, as we talk about the outward move of the hands, the kickback of the shaft, the hip staying in the box, the depth of the right leg, all this stuff is certainly in evidence here. Pretty cool stuff. So here's a couple more swings at Casper. Just want to show them to you. One thing you're going to see, we got a couple of face-ons up here, is just how much Casper moved laterally. Incredible amount. So here we go. Actually, we can tell a little better this one. We got it started just a hair late, but I'm going to put a line on his left hip. check out this move. First of all, classic leg movement. And I would say nowadays, for anybody that is getting a little older, this is what I would copy. This kind of leg movement right here, deep into the right, left leg free, heel up. As long as you can get that heel back down immediately, like right there. Watch how much lateral this is. Now, this would not work if those hands weren't coming out toward the ball or above the ball. Check this out. Now that is athletic. Now watch the right foot. You talk about dragging the right foot, right? Norman's got nothing on Casper, right? Check that out. Here's a down the line view. So relaxed, tight posture, a little slumpy in the back, but again, pull into the right hip. Club gets deep. Look at that right arm get deep. Now he's gonna drive down into that left heel. Hands are gonna come right out at the ball. The shaft is going to kick right back there. And look at the upper right arm. Come right in front of the body there. Now he's just going to let it go. Keep that right foot down. Turn the face. Beautiful. Now, can't talk about Casper without talking about his putting. Check this out. Now, one of the greatest putters of all time. And it's not like all the greens he was putting on were fairways. They were playing some courses with fast greens for sure. It was definitely more erratic, and the everyday course probably was much slower. But watch this. This stroke is just awesome. Look at that. Zero shoulder movement. I mean, there's a tiny bit, maybe. Look at that thing just pop and stop. If I could figure out how to do that, I think I would do that. Love that. Little forward press and then dink. And what a sweet man he was. Saw a great interview with Casper and David Faraday, and also an interview with him after, talking about how sad he was when he beat Palmer. Got him 5 strokes in 4 holes, tied him up and beat him in the playoff. There he is, Billy Casper. Rest in peace, buddy.